Well, hi there. Thanks for tuning into my YouTube channel. My name is Jose Quiñones, and today is January 14, 2014, and for a few weeks I've been thinking about doing something different. And for the most part, most of my videos have had to do about motion control, how to control your brush or your stepper motor, current regulation, different algorithms, cool gadgets. But I'm thinking, motion control is fun, but it's kind of useless. The actual cool and useful thing is what we're controlling the motion for, right? And in this case, one of my favorite toys is this CNC milling machine, which I'll talk more about it. It's an excellent piece of equipment, but overall, every CNC machine is just an excellent example of how motion control has changed our lives and allow us to make a lot of cool stuff. So I want to switch from just going into what motion control is and just start shooting videos on the actual fun part of what we can do with the actual final product, which is being motion controlled. So the rationale for me to start doing these videos is not because I'm an eminence on machining. Actually, I'm the total opposite. I suck more than a vacuum cleaner when it comes to machining and mechanisms, and it's pretty bad. But I like it. It's fun. It's relaxing, and it's definitely a good therapeutic hobby. And I've been learning a lot in the past few years. I started in 1995 with this hobby, so it's mostly almost 20 years. I started with this hobby in 1995, and I took a few classes, a little bit here and there, but most of it I have had to teach myself. So I have been buying a bunch of books. I have dozens and dozens of books, and the problem with reading a machining book, especially with something that you don't know much, or maybe something you don't understand, is that most of the text is about, hey, you just take this flippity Ferguson and you make sure that the flip is like in CNCDude. It's like it's impossible to follow what's going on. It's like a picture does way much more than 100 paragraphs, right? So magazines are great, but what I have found is the best tool ever is YouTube videos. I mean, I have been watching certain eminences and geniuses out there for like 3 years, and I have learned so much. I mean, it's like hyperspace in a split second to just see a video of how stuff is done, how somebody attached somebody, or how how a part was attached in the device, or how you grab it, or how you measure things. That stuff is so much better than just reading a book or even a magazine. So I figure if I put some of these videos together, although I'm not an expert by any means, but maybe somebody can learn how not to do it at least, right? So this chapter is basically just for introducing this new series of videos. Like I said, my name is Jose Quiñones. I'm an electric engineer. I have been tinkering with machine shop since 1995. I love CNC machining. It's just amazing, the reality that you can conceive something in your mind, put it in a computer, and just get this machine to build it, and the results are amazing, mind-blowing. But just to give you an idea of why my kind of machining is completely different than any of these guys. So I'm not a teacher, I'm not a mechanical engineer, I'm not a machinist, and I don't even make any money with this. I mean, this has been my hobby. I started buying these machines just because I wanted to build an R2D2 replica, which you may have seen in some of my videos. So that's why I started in 1995. That was my dream, to build this R2D2. And at some point in time, I realized that you need cool machines and cool cool stuff like CNC, like milling machines and lathes. And they're great tools to get the job done. So I picked those up, and I just became fascinated with this, and I have been growing my arsenal of tools ever since. But I don't make any money, so you're not gonna see stuff here like production jigs or how to mass produce something. I mean, that's obviously the processes are similar, so you can pick ideas here and there and make your own, but I have never mass produced anything, so that's something that I'm not very well aware of how to do. Most of the parts that I do is just like one, and actually that's not true. I may need to do two because the first one is often a mess. But you know, basically the idea is that I try to get my part done, and after so many mistakes, I get it done, and it looks pretty good. But you know, it takes a while. So most of the stuff that I'm going to be doing is for 1Cs, probably 2Cs if at all. But you know, it's still you still need to do the same, pretty much the same stuff that you would still need if you were going to do 100, except that there's not going to be a fixture or like a jig. Most of the stuff I do in the body, so I may actually strap stuff to the table, but most stuff will be in the bodies. So that's a background with regards to me, and I'll tell you more about me as time progresses. But on today's video, I also like to introduce the different machines that I'm going to be using throughout this series. And of course, machine number 1 is going to be the Tormach PCNC 1100. There is only one thing that I can say about this machine. You're awesome! You are awesome! And I actually beat it. I mean, this machine is amazing. Like I said before, I saw like a black hole when it comes to machining. But this machine actually makes me look like I know what I'm doing. It may take me 2 or 3 times to get it there, but I mean, people seeing the stuff that came out of the machine swear that oh man, this guy must be a mechanical engineer, or he has a PhD in machining, because the stuff that comes out of here is just mind-blowing amazing. So I guess I'm cheating a little bit. Thank God for this piece of equipment, and it's amazing. This piece of equipment is amazing, and we will see lots and lots of it. It's basically a CNC milling machine with 3 axes. I have the 4th axis, so maybe we get to use the 4th axis at some point in time. It could have also been a lathe, which at some point in time I had, but I sold it, and you'll soon see why I had to sell my duality lathe. But man, this stuff is amazing. You'll see it in action, and you'll believe that I'm telling you the truth. So let's take a look at machine number 2. But before we do that, let me show you what came before machine number 2. So maybe we can call this machine 1.75. You know, a milling machine is a great piece of equipment, but there are plenty of parts for which you're going to need a lathe. Before I had what I'll show you as my tool number 2, everything that needed to be turned or faced was taken care of by this little guy here. This is a $400 lathe, or maybe less if you get a bunch of coupons or if you get a deal from Harbor Freight. There are other places that you can get Little Machine Shop or Grizzly. There's a gazillion different people that pretty much market the same thing, you know, in different colors, maybe yellow or green or blue. Great little machine. It's not meant to build a truck axle, but you know, for little pieces it's perfect. Actually, everything that I did on my 3D printer came out of here because I didn't have my big lathe by then. I went ahead and I bought the little, this is like a quick change tool post, and I have a bunch of attachments. Man, this is a lifesaver, or I should say time saver. And I have a bunch of attachments here, you know, for the different blades and the cutoff, and I want to do different cutters, right? So great little tool. Some people, I mean, there is a cult when it comes to this lathe. There are people that will do everything here. It's amazing the stuff that they can do. But you know, for me, it was just basically little axles and anything that is wrong, basically. Holes for the extruded nozzle, some parts on the actual hot end, and you know, stuff like that. So great little machine, but unfortunately a little bit too small for some of the work that I wanted to do. So that takes us to machine number 2, the actual machine number 2. This is 1.75. Now this is actually machine number 2. The little lathe played a big role for a long time, but I don't even use it anymore. I mean, I can pretty much do anything that I can think of in terms of turning in here. This is a 12 by 36 lathe. I just acquired this a few months ago. The sad part, or the preposterous part of this story is that I actually had a lathe like this in the early 2000s, like, you know, between 2003 and 2005, and I sold it because back in 2005 I got this idea that I was going to be a rock star, so I decided to switch hobbies and I took back again on my music. And you know, that's fun and all, but I actually suck more at music than I suck at machining, so I figured let's do a comeback. So a few months ago, I just decided that I wanted to acquire a 12 by 36 lathe. Man, it was super hard to find. I went to the Craigslist, eBay, all of the possible clubs that I could think of. It's a great tool. You know, this is not tool run quality, and it's a Chinese import from 1997, so it has seen way better days, but it does everything that I can think of, or I mean everything that I need. So to me it's great. I have the quick change tool post, I have a DRO. Man, I'm set. It's not CNC, but you know, when it comes to lathe, I actually prefer to do it by hand. Although I'm certain there are parts that are way better done with a CNC machine. So maybe in the future I'll have a CNC lathe, I don't know. It's much more therapeutic to do stuff by hand on the lathe. So I like it. Some of these handles, the actuation on the cross slide and the compound slide was pretty bad. So I had like the first 2 or 3 days were just basically bringing this guy back into operation, cleaning it up, removing all the rust. So I mean, it works and it's in pretty good shape, but it's definitely an import, so I wouldn't expect to be able to do anything super fancy here. This is tool number 3. It's a CNC plasma cutter. It's actually a Tormach 2x2 CNC plasma cutter. And from all of my tool purchases, I am ashamed to admit this is the one that I am the least fond of. The reason is I paid $6,000 for this CNC plasma cutter, and although it works, you know, it does what it's supposed to do. But when you compare a Tormach CNC milling machine, I mean, there's a lot of iron on that thing, and you know, big steppers and a spindle, a 3-phase spindle. I mean, there is a lot of stuff in there, and you can get them new for like $10,000. Of course, I mean, a Tormach will go up to $20,000 once you put all of the bells and whistles. But this machine is $6,000 for the least expensive model. So it's like, man, how could it be $6,000? I mean, is there really that amount of money and effort to build something like this? Evidently what happens is that a CNC plasma cutter is not something that everybody wants or everybody's buying. I mean, this is not something you go to Walmart and say, hey, where are the CNC plasma cutters, boy? And the guy's like, oh, go by aisle 7. It's just to your right below the Blasendorf reactors. So clearly this is something that, you know, if the company wants to feed their family and, you know, they want to eat, they have to sell it at $6,000, so just so they can make their ends meet. So it's just the reality of the business. But it's a little bit depressing because, you know, this could have been built for like $1,000 or $2,000. I actually built the electronics myself, so I just basically tossed away the electronics that came with this. This is my own design. It's something that was called the CNC motherboard. I tried a Kickstarter with it. It didn't go well. So basically I'm using the prototypes to run some of my different CNC machines. This plasma cutter being the one that I use the most with. But you know, it runs with Mach 3, which is great because I just love Mach 3. So that's something that I'm very happy with. It's a cool machine. It does what it needs to. I don't use it a lot. I did a few R2D2 parts with it. I did a few 3D printer parts with it. So, you know, overall, it does what it's supposed to do. I'm just a little bit chain to admit that I had to pay $6,000 for something that should have been more like 2 or 3, at the most. But hey, everybody has to eat, right? So guys and gals, I think this is a good introduction for today, just to get things started. I foresee many more videos to come where I detail how I do things, how I envision the part, how I draw the part, the software that I use, how that I cam it, the software that I use for camming it, and then how do we run it on different machines. Different techniques to holding the work, to determining where in the coordinate system the part is, the different tools that we use to cut, to shape the part, and the different processes are required to get something done. So lots of information that may or may not be useful. I hope it is. As always, feel free to comment on things that you think I could be doing better. To me, this is going to be a learning experience for all. It's just basically information that we all get to share. In the comments, sometimes I learn with the video, but the comments also give some valuable information. Something that, maybe a compliment to something that the original author intended to show and maybe wasn't explained as well, or anything. I hope you don't downgrade the heck out of me too much, but if I deserve it, so be it. I will try to keep these videos as light and entertaining as possible, just because that's the nature of who I am. I do not mean any disrespect to machinists out there, much less these pieces of equipment, which are as dangerous as they're lethal. I have all of my fingers as of today, and I have all of my body parts. I have still seen a lot of blood and lots of nicks and pieces of meat flowing around. So these are very dangerous pieces of equipment, and I'm certain there will be much more to talk about that in subsequent videos. But I think it's enough for today. I think you guys may want to watch something else. So until the next time, and there will be much more to come.